From Tommy Stewart From Tommy Stewart Field, it's almost time for second round action in the 6A class of the IHSA playoffs. Today it's the 6th seeded Washington Panthers and the 14th seeded Champaign Centennial Chargers. Hello everybody and welcome to sunny Champaign. Alongside Tyler Skibinski, it's Larry Larson in with you. Thanks for joining us. And Tyler, both these teams coming off of big victories last week. Washington defeating Normal West and Champaign Centennial with the upset victory over Chicago Kenwood. They're upset-minded today.
Exactly. We're going to pay attention to Brady Boatwright, number 9, the starting quarterback for Champaign Centennial today. Been starting since he was a sophomore. Going to be a great game for him.
Yeah, his time to shine. He had a big game last week on the road at Kenwood. And as for the Panthers, we're keeping our eyes on Thomas Borges. He had a massive 45 carries last week in the victory over Normal West. Washington is 6th seeded, as we mentioned. Champaign Centennial is 14th seeded. So if Centennial wants to advance to the next round, they need to come out with another upset. But here, they're on their home field. What kind of an advantage do you think that presents?
I think they're going to bring the fans out today. I think it's going to play a great upset for them.
Champaign Centennial has a lot of great athletes, but so does Washington. Can the Chargers pull off another upset, or will the Panthers roll on to the Sweet 16? Find out next on CSM. Welcome you live to Champaign, and today Tyler Skibinski, the road to state runs through Champaign for both the Chargers and the Panthers. Not too bad of a trip, just 85 miles, an hour and a half, but still you got to figure the fact that Washington has maybe some bus legs favors the Chargers.
Yeah, it's a little chilly out here today, but it's going to heat up here on the football field, so it's going to be a great game for sure.
As we take a look at the weather forecast for today, Tyler, pretty much the last 4 weeks throughout Central Illinois have been very rainy, very damp. Today, that's not the case. You see that chance of rain at 0.
Hey, that's a good thing, especially when playing a football game.
Definitely. And on this artificial turf field, I suppose the weather won't have that much of an effect. We're going to pause for our national anthem. We'll be right back with football in a moment. That was a rousing rendition of our nation's national anthem by the Centennial Band. Well done by them. We'll take a look at some playoff history for both these teams now, starting with the Chargers. And Tyler, the story of Centennial has been remarkable the last few years. The last time there was a full IHSA football season, they went 0-9 in 2019. Now they're here in the playoffs and playing their first home playoff game since 2014.
And yeah, Larry, that was Kyle Jackson, Centennial's head coach's first season. Now he's on his third season, making their playoff run.
I mean, really a remarkable turnaround in just 3 seasons, especially considering that Centennial only played 2 games last spring. And now taking a look at the Panthers and the great tradition that head coach Daryl Crouch has going. You see so many years, so many historic teams for the Panthers, a runner-up in 1983, a state title in 1985, but recently Washington with 14 consecutive playoff appearances. They've been here before. They're used to this stage.
Yeah, speaking of wins, they've had 5 straight wins dating back to week 4, winning at Dunlap.
7 consecutive, or rather 7 10-win seasons since 2000. Really remarkable on the Washington side of things. We're almost ready for kickoff here in Champaign. Thanks for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. A special edition of IHSA playoff football. Centennial just retreating to their sideline, trying to get the crowd fired up.
I think they're ready to play, Larry. I think they are.
Coming off an upset victory last week at Chicago Kenwood, a Chicago Public League school. And frankly, I was talking to Jim Matson last week when we were out at Peoria Stadium doing Peoria versus Morgan Park, and I was having a conversation with Jim, and he said, I would not be surprised if Centennial beat Kenwood. I said, you know what, Jim, I'm not so sure. Kenwood's had a great season. That's why you listen to Jim Matson. Chargers coming out with a big victory last week, and now they've got a chance for another upset here today.
21-7. That's a great win for Champaign Centennial.
Especially on the road, and now with that victory, they get that home playoff game here at Tommy Stewart Field. Washington will boot it away to start the contest. Centennial will elect to return, and of course, Washington will send out their big leg, Paul Sporer, the senior standing at 6'3", 190 pounds. More times than not, he sends it through the back of the end zone. Sporer getting ready to march it off. And we are almost ready for football in the second round of the IHSA playoffs. Thanks for joining us today on CSM. Panthers in white, Chargers in light powder blue.
It looks like Braylon Peacock. He's in the backfield right now looking to receive the kick.
Peacock, a senior, is definitely dangerous, has a lot of experience. You hear the crowd. So we're waiting on the kickoff. The anticipation is building, I suppose. The official gives the thumbs up, blows the whistle, and now we're ready. Sporer sends it away. It's a knuckling kick right to Peacock. He's got to be careful with it and recovers nicely. He's in some trouble, makes his way just past the 15.
Great short run by Peacock there.
Really a good recovery.
Yeah.
That could have been very, very dangerous. So Champaign Centennial will take the field, led by their senior quarterback, Brady Boatwright. We mentioned at the top of the show he's been starting since his sophomore year. That sophomore season, of course, when the Chargers went 0-9. So he's seen it all with Centennial. He's gone from rock bottom, now perhaps to the mountaintop with a playoff victory last week. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Chargers from their own 18.
He threw two TDs last week, so we'll see what he can throw today.
Boatwright gives up the gut to start. And Washington's front 4 has none of that. That'll be 2nd down after a loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Targets you got to look out for Boatwright, Jack Young Jr., number 8, as well as Jalen Coleman, number 12. I was talking with Washington Panthers head coach Daryl Crouch. He told me he expects a 50-50 split between run and pass. For the Chargers, they're pretty balanced. Brandon Harvey in the backfield with Boatwright. Man in motion. And a handoff on the jet sweep around the corner. And a nice pickup on second down to bounce back after a loss of 1 on first down. So it'll be third down and manageable. Tyler, what do you think the play call is here?
I think it's going to be a pass. They did 2 run plays already at the start of the game. Third down, I think they're going to have to throw a pass here.
Romello Law was on the carry there. Law lining up at wide receiver today. Good player on both sides of the ball for the Chargers. Boatwright in the gun, and he will indeed pass. Climbs the pocket, in trouble, wrapped up at the line, nearly intercepted.
That was a scare.
They're going to call it a fumble. Washington's on it, and they'll take over at the 15.
Wow, now that was an impressive, trying to be an impressive play there by Champaign Centennial, but I don't think it ended up in their favor.
Case Foster was the first one to climb on it. We'll see if this call stands, Tyler. In my opinion, could have gone either way. Boatwright was definitely in a throwing motion, but it's just a matter of whether or not that ball was knocked loose before, and it was indeed. So Washington will start their first drive in the red zone.
Champaign's defense is going to have to come up clutch here, Larry.
Noah Burlett, the senior quarterback, leads his boys onto the field, and the first give is to Thomas Borges for a pickup of a few. Borges, we mentioned again a few moments ago, 45 carries last week in a win over Normal West. I talked to Coach Crouch about that, and he said that's probably the most that anybody has ever touched the ball in my tenure at Washington, and this is Crouch's 17th season at Washington, so that's saying something.
And that was for 232 yards, too, so 45 carries for 232 yards is not that bad.
Of course, a lot of that has to do with the man in front of him, Cade Bescheid, senior standing at 6'2", playing fullback. He's stepped up the last few weeks for the Panthers. Burlett, fake pitch and a give to Borges. Hit hard by the defensive line. Great job by Jack Barnhart, the sophomore, clobbers Borges. It'll be third down and 4.
That was a great hit by Barnhart right there.
Barnhart, a sophomore, one of a lot of sophomores on this Chargers team, a mix of senior experience and a lot of young talent. Burlett, Bescheid, Borges, the Killer Bees, looking to the sideline for the play call from Daryl Crouch. They've got it.
Can the Killer Bees pull it off on third down?
Well, it goes to Borges, makes the man miss, gets inside the 5. That should be enough for the first down. It'll be first and goal.
That was a great run there on third.
Will be spotted on the 4-yard line.
Ball is on the 4-yard line. First down. I'm thinking it's going to be a run, Larry.
Could go to Bescheid. He had a touchdown last week. Borges again. Ooh. Borges over a man to the end zone. Panthers on the board first.
Now that looked like exactly something that Derrick Henry would do.
Borges, not the tallest in frame, 5'9", 165, but he stood tall there. And Washington leads it 6-0 with 8:14 to go. And the opening quarter of action. Paul Sporer on now for the extra point. Tyler Richardson will hold. Good snap, good hold, and more than enough on the kick. Sporer nearly booted that one off the flagpole, and that makes it 7-0 in favor of the Panthers. And we'll take this break to remind you that today's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, call 309-444-4441 or visit Jake just west of the square in Washington. Thanks to Jake for his support all year. Also brought to you by Kep's Sports Bar and Grill in Washington. For a great atmosphere, great food, and a family-oriented dining experience, visit them on 313 Muller Road in Washington, or call 309-444-1974 for a great meal experience. Thanks to Keps, thanks to Jake Weston State Farm for their support of CSM this year. I'm sure both those folks are happy to see their Panthers on top on the road today. Sporer, line drive kick. This time a little more of a conventional return for Peacock. Makes a man miss. A nice return past the 20.
Those were some great blocks by Centennial's receiving team right there. It's going to be interesting to see what Brady Boatwright can do now, bringing the offense on for the second time this game.
Boatwright needs a recovery with a turnover on his first drive to set up the Panthers inside the red zone. Boatwright coming out in the gun. Harvey in the backfield. And the officials blow their whistles. I believe we might have some sort of clock issue. It's hard to tell. Looks like the officials are signaling to the clock upstairs here to reset the clock. There should be 7:42 on the clock rather than 7:40 or 7:20 right now. You see, if you look closely, the sun is making it difficult on the scoreboard camera, but if you look closely, you can see the time there.
74-20 would be an interesting quarter there, Larry.
Be a bit much, as Harvey proves to be a bit much for the Panthers defense, brought down past the 30. A big run for the big junior.
6'0", 200 pounds.
Low center of gravity is what that is, built like a fullback.
Took a couple Washington defenders to be able to take him down on that play.
So 2nd and 2. We'll see if the Chargers keep it on the ground. Brandon Harvey again stationed to the left. The man in motion is Peacock. Harvey shakes a man in the backfield and tumbles down near the sticks. It's going to be close. 3rd and about 1 coming up. And with all the momentum that Harvey's had on this drive and the few plays, Tyler, you figure it goes back to him again.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That'll move the sticks. They're going to mark Harvey past the sticks. It'll be 1st and 10. Chargers trying to get a drive going on their own 33. Play clock winding down under 10. Boatwright with 3 wide receivers. Jack Young Jr. at the top of your screen. Another give to Harvey. And that time the Panthers defensive line stands tall.
They keep getting these run plays, Larry, but they're not progressing with any yards, it seems like.
At least on that one, the last few weren't too bad for Harvey. But the X factor in the run game, Tyler, for the Chargers is their offensive line. It is just full of big dudes. Ryan Perry at left tackle, 6'0", 250. Jameer Hall at 6'5", 285 at left guard. Jeremiah Young, 6'6", 285 at right tackle. Boatwright with a screen pass, complete to Peacock, weaving in and out of traffic. All that for a gain of 1 or 2. 3rd and long coming up. And we've seen Centennial be pretty diverse in their play calling. What do you think we see here?
I think we might have to see a short run to Brandon Harvey, or it might be a pass as well, but I'm definitely going with run on this one.
Harvey headed to the sideline now, so it'll be Peacock out of the backfield. Third and long situation. We'll see what Boatwright and company can do. We have not seen the ball in the hands of Jack Young Jr. yet. Something we expect. Boatwright back to pass. Pressure coming. He's going to take a shot deep into double coverage. Caught by Young.
That was a great pass by Boatwright. That's something that they needed to see, especially.
Listen to these fans. They wanted something to cheer about, and they got it.
They are going nuts out here, Larry.
The 6'4 senior, Jack Young Jr., had 2 touchdowns last week. Starts his day in a big way with a big catch. That's one thing to keep an eye on, Tyler, today. Washington's secondary is missing a key piece, and Drew Lewis sprained his ankle in last week's game. He was their #1 corner, so Jack Lemus has had to step up on the defensive side, as well as Easton Harris. Looked like it was Harris in the coverage perhaps there. Evan Grazier also in the secondary. Something to keep an eye on. 1st and 10 into Panthers territory now. Harvey alongside Boatwright. Here's Harvey. A patient run for a pickup of a few.
Yeah, those short ones are really playing an impact on Centennial's offense right now. I mean, at least they're picking up some yards. They aren't losing any so far.
2nd and medium situation. If you're the Chargers, you really needed a big play like that, especially after the turnover, which resulted eventually in a Panthers touchdown. Boatwright and company getting something positive going.
I agree with you, Larry. I think that was the play they needed to keep that momentum going on the field as well.
Jalen Coleman, the receiver in motion at the top of your screen. Young Jr. in the slot to the left. It's a screen pass, one-handed catch by Harvey. But Cade Beachide is there to end the play. Beachide, the senior linebacker, has done a great job for head coach Darryl Crouch all season long on both sides. Comes up with a big play there. 3rd and 10.
That was such a great catch by Harvey. Those one-handed catches are pretty hard to come by sometimes, but
gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
Especially in the playoffs, the main goal a lot of the time on offense, you just gotta limit those big losses. Harvey able to do so, recovering after an off-balance catch. 3rd and long here. Harvey still on the field. Boatwright, incomplete.
It looked like it was a tip pass from up here, but
just came out of his hand weird almost. It was a quick out route to Jack Young Jr. And now we'll see what the Chargers elect to do. Down early, 4th and 10 in Panthers territory. Here in this spot, do you punt?
I think they might have to go for it here, Larry, already being down 7-0. I think that's what they're going to do.
No punter on the field. Brady Boatwright breaks the huddle. Under 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Boatwright chucks it to the end zone, tipped away by Mason Geltz, and the Panthers force a turnover on downs.
That was such a great attempt too, Larry. I mean, it was really hard because the Washington defenders were covering that very well.
Looked like the Chargers were looking for a PI call, but they did not get it. Clean coverage, if you ask me. It looked like Young had one defender beat, but he had the safety behind him. Geltz, the junior, rather senior starting safety, rises to the occasion, and now Washington has a chance to go up 2 scores. Noah Burlett out of the shotgun. You may be able to hear the noise up here in the one-room press box. Washington's coaches immediately saw something was off. They got flagged. Did they get a timeout in before? They did not. So they're going to be penalized. Legal substitution was the call, so that'll move them back 5 yards before 1st down. If I'm not mistaken, we'll see if the timeout, it did indeed get called. I don't think it did. So Washington huddles up near the sideline, and they'll run this 1st down back only a little bit longer.
Noah Burlett's passing game on the season is 55%, throwing 67 for 120, which is not bad for 814 yards.
Gives to Borges. Don't see the arm from Burlett here, and why would we need to? Big run from Borges, brought down near the sticks. Pickup of 14 on 1st down. Tyler, I didn't think we'd see that type of game plan this week, but it might be another 30-plus carry game from Borges.
I guess we'll have to see.
At this pace, why not? It's been so good. In case you're just joining us, Borges punching one in from a few yards out around the 8-minute mark of this first quarter to give Washington a one-score lead off of a turnover. Borges again up the gut, falls forward. That'll move the chains.
Yeah, this season he had over 1,000 yards rushing, so that is amazing.
Borges, the first option, kind of developed as that #1 running back in the spring season. Jack Lemus, that second back, not a bad option either. One of the quicker players on the field whenever he's out there. But Panthers did not have to use him much last week. He only had 1 carry, but he did step up on the defensive side of things. Ball on the Panthers' own 39. Borges again with Bescheid out front, and he lost the football. The Chargers have it. A peanut punch from Champaign Centennial gets him the football back.
Will Champaign Centennial be able to recover this time, you think, on offense, Larry?
Well, that's one way to start. Both teams with an early turnover in the first quarter. And boy, did the Chargers need that. Washington with the momentum early, but Centennial now with another chance. They'll set up shop on the Panthers side of the field. We saw Boatwright take some shots down the field on the Chargers' last drive. We'll see if we see it again. Harvey in the backfield. He gets the carry. Mean stiff arm, and he's brought down. Good recovery by, I believe that was Tyler Richardson, who got stiff-armed. Still able to bring Harvey down, but wow, an angry run.
Imagine if he would have broke free on that run, Larry. That probably could have ended up as a touchdown.
Harvey having a nice game so far, the junior back. Had 35 yards last week. Boatwright, quarterback keeper, fake pitch, he slides. He'll be close to the sticks. Tyler, I think that may have been a broken play.
I think it might have. I mean, with Boatwright's running ability, I mean, last week he had 2 rushes for 19 yards, so the quarterback is able to run a little bit, it seems like.
He's mobile, but perhaps that was a quarterback read. He kept it himself. It's 3rd down and 1. Under 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Play clock at 15, so we'll get one more play in. Boatwright with the hard count. Washington's front 4 not budging. Harvey again makes a man miss, gets past the sticks.
Looks like he went through the spin cycle there on that play, Larry. He was spinning around like crazy.
Usually you don't see those moves from somebody as big and burly as Harvey, but he's shown off the agility so far today. Are we 1st and 10 for the Chargers? When the second quarter gets underway, a Thomas Borges touchdown run has the Panthers up 7-0 on the road at Champaign Centennial, and we'll take this quarter break to remind you that tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, home, auto, life, health, you name it, give Jake a call, 309-444-4441, the easiest phone number to remember in the 309 area code. It's Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Also brought to you by Kep's Sports Bar and Grill at 313 Muller Road in Washington. I've had their wings, they're delicious, I highly recommend, but you can also head to Kep's for a great atmosphere, superb food, and a family-oriented dining experience. It's Kep's in Washington. For reservations, call 309-444-1974. Shout out to all the Kep's perhaps watching the game back in Washington today.
Speaking of you talking about wings, Larry, I see a lot of people with plates with pizza on it today. Is that the food of choice, it seems like?
I don't know. I suppose we'll find out at halftime. I could go for a pork chop sandwich, let me tell you.
There you go.
When we come back from the break, Centennial will have a 1st down and 10 Chargers with an early turnover. Washington started their first drive inside the red zone, and it resulted in that Borges touchdown. Washington fumbling, Borges coughing it up, resulting in this Chargers drive. We'll see if they can turn in some points off of turnovers themselves. Boatwright looking for the play call. And now he's got it. Good protection. Looking long for Young down the sideline. Could not channel Odell Beckham Jr. He nearly did. Almost identical.
That would have been an amazing play, especially.
Wow. There you see why Boatwright targets Jack Young Jr. so much. His favorite target. Both those guys were sophomores on that 0-9 team. They've been a big part of the reason why the Chargers are back in the postseason. For the first time in a while, it's their first playoff appearance since 2015. Trying to hang or head to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2006. Play action. Good pass to Coleman. Coleman breaks a tackle. Still on his feet. Brought down inside the 15.
It looked like for a second there it was almost an incomplete pass, but he recovered amazingly.
It was a low ball from Boatwright. But he did a good job to haul it in. Coleman, another senior. These are the guys you rely on in games like this.
1st and 10 on the 12-yard line. I think Centennial might have a chance to score here.
It'll be 1st and 10. The line to gain is the 3. Harvey in the backfield with Boatwright. He's going to pass again to the corner for Peacock through his hands.
Ah, that was such a great target, too. He was wide open in the field there.
Looked like he had Geltz beat. Mason Geltz, the safety, has been involved in a lot of plays early on today for the Panthers. A pass-heavy attack for the Chargers so far. I think that's credit to Washington's front four and their linebacking core. They've done a good job relatively containing Harvey out of the backfield, but Chargers have gone to the pass game a lot, especially at the tail end of the first and now into the second.
Yeah, Larry, as you mentioned, Geltz, he did have an interception last week, so that could have been huge if he would have caught that.
Peacock in motion. Harvey swallowed up. We've got a flag down.
That Washington O-line looked like they knew what was coming there with that run play.
The officials discussing pass interference or block in the back, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure what that was. The signal looked like pass interference, but of course that was not a pass. So
I don't think the fans are too happy about that call, Larry.
Illegal hands, perhaps. The officials still have not marched off the yardage. Penalty is declined. Illegal shift. That's more like it. Third and 10 for the Chargers. No replay of the down. Harvey with space to the 5-yard line. It'll be 4th and short. The Chargers will almost certainly go for it. Great blocks up front for Harvey.
I don't know, Larry. Is it risky to go for it right now on 4th and 2?
While you're inside your opponent's red zone, I think it's a no-brainer.
I agree with you on that one.
Especially at the high school level, you never know with the field goal kickers.
That is true. That is very
Except
true.
if you're Washington, you've got Paul Sporer.
There you go.
Who told me yesterday that anything from 30 to 40 yards he feels pretty confident with. But it's the Chargers with the football. They're going for it on 4th and 2. 2 men in motion, and a timeout is taken by Centennial. Head coach Kyle Jackson storms onto the field. He saw something he didn't like, so he called a timeout, and you can never be too sure in situations like this. Big fourth down coming up, and we'll take this break to remind you that today's presentation of CSM Playoff Football in the 6A class is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call, 309-444-4441 for all your insurance needs. It's Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Also by Keps at 313 Muller Road in Washington. For great food and a family-oriented atmosphere, give Keps a call to make your reservation, 309-444-1974. See what the play call is out of the timeout for the Chargers.
You mentioned a lot of fours in that phone number there, Larry. Let's see what Centennial can do on 4th and 2.
Got to put the fours up for the Panthers defense. Harvey in the backfield. 2 receivers to the right. One is Young, one is Coleman. Boatwright keeps it himself, tripped up, somehow got it out to Young, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like his knee might have touched the ground before the ball came out, but incomplete pass.
That ball did clearly bounce on the turf, and the Panthers defense once again stands tall. The Chargers 0 for 2 on 4th down early in this game. However, now fate is in the hands of the defense. They've got Washington on their own 5-yard line, so if those big front guys can step up, perhaps it could create a scoring opportunity on defense. Noah Burlett breaks the huddle, leads the team onto the field. Bescheid and Borges in the backfield. Here's Borges. Gain of 1 or 2.
Great defensive stop by Champaign Centennial.
Second and 8. As long as you allow a gain of less than 2 yards, 2 yards or less, I should say, on every play, then it's enough to force a 4th down. Although they've had trouble containing Borges at times today. Burlett out of the gun. Brock Powlett, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Burlett with an option. Borges looking for space on the outside. Hit pretty hard past the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd and medium.
They can hold them on this play, Larry. I think it might have to be a punt by Washington.
And they will not hesitate to punt with Sporer. 3rd and 5. Rather, 3rd and 3. 3 receivers set for Burlett. We've yet to see him throw today. Another option play. He'll charge forward himself. He's going to be about a yard short of the sticks. Is this a punting situation, or maybe do you send out the heavy set?
I think it might have to be a QB sneak right up the middle.
Burlett trying to show off the wheels there. Panthers offense staying on the field at least for now. We'll see if they actually go for it. The crowd starts to come to life. Would not surprise me if Burlett tries the hard count.
I think he's going to go for it here, Larry. This crowd is going nuts.
There's the hard count. Play clock expires. Delay a game penalty. Panthers gladly take it. And Paul Sporer will come out onto the field for a punt. That doesn't really surprise me, especially early in this game. Washington trying to force a mistake out of the Chargers on their home field as the crowd went ballistic. But they did not budge. Good job by their defense. So Sporer in the special teams unit is on. Sporer from the end zone. Gets it away. It's Peacock on a bounce. Brought down at the 40. Defense standing tall in this one after Washington scored early at about the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. A Thomas Borges touchdown run from a few yards out after Washington's defense forced a fumble out of the senior quarterback Brady Boatwright, and that's the difference right now, only score. Chargers are 0 for 2 on 4th down. They've taken some gambles early on. They've got favorable field position to start this drive. Play action, Boatwright on the keeper. Boatwright carrying men with him. Geltz tried to rip the ball out, could not get it. Hefty pickup on 1st down for Boatwright.
Boatwright had to turn up the Jets there a little bit.
That'll be enough for a 1st down.
Ball is on the Washington 30-yard line.
Boatwright has the play call. Under 8 minutes to go in the opening half. Washington will receive the second half kickoff. Never too early to start thinking about that. Harvey to the outside, brought down from behind by E.J. Phillips, but not after a nice pickup.
Harvey did break free there for a little bit there, Larry, trying to cut out to the end zone.
We haven't really seen Harvey to the outside working against the sideline until that run. Mainly he's been between the tackles, up the gut. Centennial inside the red zone now. Their last drive that made it inside the Panthers 25 stalled out on 4th down. Boatwright
to Harvey again.
Keeping the legs churning. You see that low center of gravity. Harvey doing a great job with that. Washington's defense has been a strong point for them all year, averaging 12.5 points allowed per game. That's not too shabby, especially at the high school level. Both these teams, you could argue the defense has been the X factor. Harvey again doesn't get through the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Billy Morrison and company.
Harvey just keeps trying to run it up the middle, Larry, but is that a problem for Centennial, you think?
Well, he's had varying levels of success today. We've seen what he can do. Not afraid of contact. Lots of yards after contact for Harvey. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Chargers trying to strike back after an early Washington touchdown. 3 wide receiver set. Young off to the right. Coleman on the far left. Boatwright looking for Young. Pocket collapsing. He's sacked. Noah Hoogerwerf got there. Back-to-back weeks with a sack for the senior.
He gave him the little flex on him animation there, Larry. I think he was proud of that sack.
Like, really a team effort there. Pressure coming from all sides. And Boatwright had nowhere to go. So it's 4th and 15. The Chargers will go for it. Not necessarily surprising with this field position. Harvey in the backfield, and Coach Jackson burns a timeout, and he is not happy with something. That's the second pre-play timeout that we've seen from Centennial. Especially at this point in the game, you want to make sure that everything's right. Chargers trailing the Panthers 7-0 in quarter number 2. There you see the Panthers huddle. And if you look closely, you can see head coach Daryl Crouch in shorts, as is a tradition for Coach Crouch. He never wears pants.
Never wears pants. Wow. Speaking of shorts, I see a couple kids wearing T-shirts and shorts out here.
Hey, it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day for football. I know we were talking about it off the air on the way here. These Saturday afternoon games, they feel like fall football. You get that college football atmosphere almost. It feels like the playoffs when you get a Saturday afternoon game.
Best kind of football games, in my opinion, Larry. Nice fall weather. Get to see the leaves changing colors.
Got a good one today. Number 6 Washington, number 14th seeded Chargers. Boatwright from the pocket to the end zone, incomplete off the hand of Jalen Coleman. Coleman looking for the flag. He's not going to get it. And the Chargers are now 0 for 3 on 4th down. Washington's defense bending but not breaking.
Coleman tried to pull down the one-handed catch, but just did not seem to work in his favor there.
And early on, Tyler, we've seen why the Chargers throw the ball so much, because their receivers are running crisp routes, and they've got a lot of size. Coleman at 6 foot, Jack Young Jr. at 6'4". Boatwright has delivered some nice balls, mostly to no avail. Noah Burlett, on the other hand, has kept the ball a few times himself. He's handed off a lot to Borges, but he's not thrown yet. Now we'll see a throw, looking for Brock Pollitt, complete for a pickup of about 6 on the opening down. Brock Pollitt's first reception since week 8 against the Metamora Redbirds.
Yeah, last week, Noah Burlett did not throw any touchdown passes. However, he did have 1 interception.
He was just 2 for 4, and in the rain, perhaps that's something you expect, whether or not playing in favor of any team's passing last week. Burlett out of the gun again with B-Shide beside him. There's Borges with some space to the outside, puts his head down and charges ahead. Brought down short of the 40. That'll be enough for the first down.
Yeah, the Chargers were waiting for him on that play there, Larry.
Burlett has the play call from the sideline. Panthers spreading it out a little bit more on this drive, and that's something they've gotten away from a little bit as of late. They started the season, Burlett threw the ball a lot more than he has these last few weeks. He had 10-plus attempts in each of the first 6 games as the ball is loose and the Chargers are on it. Jack Barnhart comes out with the fumble recovery, and Champaign Centennial takes over after a botched snap.
Barnhart's a senior, 6'2", 235. Such an amazing play for Barnhart there. Number
Big man
52.
moving quick. Another turnover, the second fumble lost of the contest for Washington. 3rd overall. And that one was just an unforced error. You can't really afford those in the postseason.
No, not at all, Larry.
Now the crowd has come to life. Boatwright with Harvey. There's Harvey. Keeping the legs moving, tumbles down inside the 25.
Harvey loves those spin moves, but they seem to be working in his favor there. Now, Larry, if you are Centennial in this situation, when it comes to 4th down, do you decide to go for the touchdown or do you kick it?
At this rate, based on previous trends, I think they'll go for it, but only 2nd down. Come on now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You're right, you are
Goodness
right.
gracious, especially if Harvey's running the way he is. I don't know if we'll get to that point. Harvey's still out there with Boatwright. Boatwright looking for a pass, complete to Coleman, and he dropped it. Third down and 1. I think it's an obvious run situation. We'll see what is dialed up on the play call. But you look at Brandon Harvey, 6 foot, 200 pounds, low center of gravity. If you need a guy to get you 1, I think he's your guy.
And he's only a junior, so he's definitely going to play a big impact in Champaign season next year as well.
Picking up valuable postseason experience here this year. There is Harvey with more than 1 yard, still on his feet. Brought down after a big gain.
Derrick Henry. NFL player. I meant to say that Brandon Harvey's game is looking a lot like Derrick Henry's, using that inside game there.
Both last names start with an H. I suppose you can make that comparison.
Hey, there you go.
Ball inside the red zone. Big opportunity for the Chargers to knot this one up. Harvey recovering to stumble forward. Got tripped up after the handoff. Did a nice job to turn something out of nothing there. Second and medium. In case you're just joining us, Washington leads on a Thomas Borges touchdown run at the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. That score off of a turnover. But since that Champaign Centennial turnover, Washington has coughed up the football twice and lost both of them.
This game's been very high action, Larry, depending on both of their defenses.
We'll see if the Panthers defense can rise to the occasion again. Boat right, complete, touchdown.
Flag is on the play, though.
Jack Young Jr. hauls it in despite the pass interference.
Crowd is going nuts once again.
Easy pass interference call against the Panthers. No problem for Jack Young Jr. Penalty declined, extra point pending. Carson on for the extra point. Gets it up and good, and we are knotted at 7 in the closing stages of the first half. Nice recovery by the Chargers. Second time's a charm after a fumble. Washington's defense allowing a touchdown after holding steady the first few drives of the game. But Washington has more than enough time left on this clock to maybe try and make something happen before the halftime break.
They definitely do. Can Burlett lead them down to the field, to the end of the end zone to score?
We'll probably have to pass it a few times. We haven't seen that a whole ton today. Thomas Borges, Tyler Richardson back deep to return. Rather, Jack Lemus, two running backs. The pass interference penalty is going to move up the kick 15 yards, so I don't think Borges or Lemus will have a chance at this one. Perhaps Carson can get it close to the uprights. We'll see. Wind at his back. High end over end kick. That one just wide left to the uprights. More than enough for a touchback. And Washington will start from its own 20.
We'll see what the Panthers offense can do here with 1 minute and 26 seconds remaining.
They've got, I think, 2 timeouts left. Not entirely sure. They tried to call a timeout back in the first quarter. Not sure if that was called. All three. They've got all 3 of them. So Burlett and company have 80 yards to drive. Fake pitch and a give to Bescheid. Bescheid still on his feet. Brought down by a few defensive linemen.
That was his first carry of the day, if I'm correct, Larry.
Indeed, Bescheid has been more and more involved in that running game as of late.
Last week he did have a touchdown with 3 carries on 14 yards, and he had 1 receiving recovery for 11 yards as well.
1 reception. It was a screen pass. Looked like it could have been a big gain, but Normal West made an ankle tackle. So Bescheid moves very well for a fullback. Borges with Bescheid in front of him. brought down short of the sticks as the clock continues to run. Looks like Washington's not going to be too aggressive here as they will receive the second half kick. Third down and short will be about a yard. And if Washington wants, they can let this clock expire to halftime. We'll see what they elect to do.
It's been a great game so far, Larry, leading up to the half. Lots of defensive stops, great offensive game from both Centennial and Washington.
And we have indeed seen our final play of the first half. Washington scores first back in the first quarter with a Thomas Borges touchdown, and Champaign Centennial scores off of a Washington fumble on a Jack Young Jr. touchdown reception. And that's where we're at, 7-7 after 2 quarters of play. This is what you expect in playoff football in Class 6A.
Especially on this nice fall day we're having today.
Both teams not hesitating to open up the playbook a little bit to the pass. And before we take our halftime break, we want to remind you that today's presentation of 6A football on ClutchSportsIL.com is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, your good neighbor in Washington. Jake's got you covered for all your insurance needs. Call him at 309-444-4441 or visit him online at JakeWestonInsurance.com. Again, that's JakeWestonInsurance.com. Also brought to you by Keps Sports Bar and Grill, also in Washington at 313 Muller Road. Give them a call to make a reservation, 309-444-1974 for great wings, pizza, gaming machines, great atmosphere, and all the big games on all their televisions. Keps is the place to be. Tyler, we're going to step aside for a brief break, but before we do, any final thoughts from the first half?
I think that Champaign Centennial's playing very well. That defensive stop, like you said, Larry, something that they needed, especially to tie it up before going to the half. Washington's going to have to rely on Noah Burlett to maybe step up the passing game a little bit here to maybe get the lead for the Washington Panthers.
Noah Burlett and company headed to the locker room. We'll see what type of strategy head coach Daryl Crouch comes out with after that. We're going to step aside. Stay with us on CSM after a break. Second half of action coming up next. And we welcome you back to Tommy Stewart Field in Champaign, Illinois, where we've got a good one on our hands. It's the Washington Panthers 7 and the Centennial Chargers 7 in a 6A second round battle. Centennial the 14th seed, Washington the 6th seed. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on CSM. Larry Larson, Tyler Skabinski in with you. And Tyler, in the first half, we were talking off the air a few moments ago. It was a really quick first half because it was dominated by the run and it was dominated by defense.
Exactly. Washington's having that great run game by Borgs, the senior, who last week carried for 232 yards, not 45 yards, 232.
45 carries.
45 carries
There
for 232 yards.
Borges doing a good job today. And then on the other side of things, Centennial, they've got a pretty stout running back for themselves, Brandon Harvey, but he's been contained for the most part, with the exception of a few heavier pickups, but it's been their passing game that has made the big difference.
Exactly, yeah. Harvey's been working that inside game really well, getting a lot of short run plays from the inside, broke out free a couple of times, but that passing game, Larry, is something really, really strong for Centennial this game.
Second half just moments away as we once again take a look at the postseason history for Champaign Centennial. Big story for them, Tyler, is they were 0-9 in 2019. They turned it around after the spring and into this fall to make the postseason. They upset Chicago Kenwood last week on the road. And they've got 16 playoff appearances since 1984, but this is their first home playoff game since 2014. They've got a chance today, should they win this contest, to make the quarterfinals for the first time since 2006. As for the Panthers, they're in familiar territory under head coach Darryl Crouch, 14th consecutive playoff appearance. They were semifinalists in 2013, 2 wins away from that territory, but of course they got to get the job done today on the road at Champaign Centennial. We're glad you're in with us. We're set for a good second half. Very tight in the first half. Washington struck first with a Thomas Borges run, about of 1 yard. I suppose that's where my brain was going with that, at the 8:08 mark. And then Centennial responded before the half with a touchdown pass from Brady Boatwright to Jack Young Jr. on the senior connection. The extra point was good to knot it up at 7 apiece. Washington will receive the second half kickoff, barring an onside try. They will send out Thomas Borges and Jack Lemus deep to return. Pretty standard.
Yeah, Larry, Jack Barnhart's playing a great role for the Champaign Centennial defense this afternoon with 1 fumble recovery.
Yeah, he had that fumble recovery. He's also had a few big hits, doing his best to contain Borges and be shied out of the backfield.
I think if Champaign Centennial's defense keeps playing the way they did in that first half, I think they'll be able to put Washington up and give them a good fight.
Well, at the very least, it's going to be a good fight. Carson getting ready to boot it away. Senior kicker. Swings the right leg, and we are underway in the second half of action. Short hopper kick, fielded near the 20, and there goes the returner, still on his feet. He's gonna be wrapped up past the 40. A big time return for the Washington Panthers. Trying to get a number and a name on that returner. But what an effort that was to start the half.
That was a great run. I was at a loss for words there because that's how good of a runner it was.
Not something you expect perhaps when you get an up man to return that. Brayson Barth, the sophomore, gets the second half started with a bang. Burlett out of the shotgun. He's going to look to pass. Looking right for Pollitt. He hauls it in. Did he stay in bounds? He dropped it. And either way, I think it would have been close. Pollitt holding his side as he heads off the sideline. Hope he's all right.
Yeah, looks like the cameraman for Centennial got banged up a little bit there on that play.
That's what happens when you get that action near the sideline. Always got to have your head on a swivel. That's why we're up in the broadcast booth. 2nd and 10. Burlett opens the quarter with a pass. He has not thrown much today. 3 receivers out to the right. A give to Borges on the misdirection. He's got plenty of space, weaving in and out of traffic for the first down.
That was a great play called by Washington there, and a great run for Borges as well.
It is indeed good play calling. They set it up with that pass off to the right side, and then Burlett starts to roll back to that right side. You're thinking pass, and all of a sudden there goes Borges for the first down into Chargers territory.
That play faked me out even a little bit later. I definitely thought it was going to be a pass as well, but looked like it was a great run by Borges.
Just getting underway in quarter number 3. Washington received the second half kickoff. Noah Burlett hollering an audible to the offensive line. Panthers running the spread so far. That one bounces short of Pollitt. He's frustrated. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, looks like Pollitt has been Burlett's key receiver this game, or his main target, at least for the most part.
Pollitt, that quick slot receiver. Isaac Mapson, perhaps, is the player that draws the most attention from opposing defenses. Standing at 6'6", the tallest player on the roster. He's wearing number 1 there on the bottom of your screen. Got to keep an eye on him, but Panthers are going to bring it back in tight. Mapson, the lone wideout. Borges to the left side, going nowhere. Gabriel Byrne there to burn him. 3rd down and relatively long coming up.
That was such a great read by Byrne too, making sure that the Washington Panthers did not gain any more yards on that play.
Panthers are going to bring out the spread again. Pollitt out wide, Mapson in the slot as the crowd comes to life. Quarterback read. Borges hit from behind, and he'll be short. This crowd is going to be a factor in the second half. 4th down. Panthers are going to keep the offense on the field, and now they will send out the punt team. Senior Paul Sporer will boot it away, and Peacock will head back deep to return.
I think this was a smart move for Washington, punting this football off to start the second half.
Sporer gets it off, bounces inside the 10. Washington's got to hurry. Did they keep it out of the end zone? Yes, they did. The special teams play of the day so far by the Panthers pins Centennial inside the 1.
Washington could have an opportunity to get a safety on this play, Larry, if their defense plays well enough.
What a play by not only Sporer, but also the Washington Gunners. Did not catch the name and number on who got there first, but he was in a full sprint. Had to hustle to make sure that ball stayed out of the end zone, and it did. We'll see if Washington's defense can step up. Boatwright out of the gun from his own end zone. We'll see if he throws with Harvey beside him. Harvey gets the carry and falls forward. Get him off the 1-yard line. Forward progress there. Really what you're looking for. A little more room for error now. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, even though that was a short run by Harvey, it still played off.
Can't try and do too much. Pinned up against your own end zone. Chargers didn't there. Went to their consistent back, Harvey, who's done at least that on almost every carry today. Boatwright will pass from the end zone now. looking for Coleman, and he hauls it in on the sideline.
Such a great target and such a great find of that play, Larry. It played off very, very well.
Boatwright puts it right on the back shoulder. And Centennial gets away from its own end zone.
It looks like Coleman's limping a little bit on that play. He walked off to the sideline there holding his knee.
Hope he's all right. He is indeed on the sideline, so Law will come in as a substitution. Harvey behind Boatwright, and he gets the carry, brought down in the backfield. A great play by Tyler Richardson. Second and 11, Richardson coming in from the secondary to make that play. Harvey so often today has done a good job fighting through the first contact, could not do so there. Second and long, Jack Young Jr. at the top of your screen. Got to keep an eye on him. Panthers show blitz. Now pull back. Boatwright wrapped up and sacked.
Looked like he was still trying to get that ball off his hands there, Larry, as he was getting taken down to the ground, but that would have been a scary situation for Boatwright.
He was near the line of scrimmage, so not that much of a loss, and in fact, they're going to signal no loss, no gain. So third and 11 still. Bescheid able to get there before Boatwright could get it out.
It looks like Coleman's walking back onto the field there, Larry, so that's a great sign.
After a big catch on the sideline, he's back in. Looks a little banged up. He's at the bottom of your screen. Boatwright finds Peacock, and he is hit hard. A great play by the Panthers secondary. Cannon McQuarrie puts the hammer down.
That was a great stand by Washington defense there to hold them to on their own 26-yard line, on Centennial's 26-yard line.
So Washington will send one man back deep to return. It's Tyler Richardson, special teams standout, as well as a standout on the defensive side. Brandon Harvey, the junior running back, will punt. He barely gets it away. Harlan was bearing down on him. And the Chargers kick it a little bit. And a flag is down on the sideline. Maybe illegal touching, as it was kicked by Centennial on accident. We'll see what the flag is. But regardless, Tyler, great job by the Panthers defense to keep Centennial at one long pass, one big play on that drive after their own offense stalled out.
Yeah, I think that was the motivation that Washington's defense needed to maybe calm down the Centennial side there a little bit.
They've allowed a few big plays in the pass game, but that's pretty much been it. The lone score for the Chargers, a pass over the middle with 1:26 remaining in the first half from Boatwright to Jack Young Jr. Noah Burlett under center to Borges. Somehow finds a way through the line of scrimmage, pushed backwards, doesn't go down, but play whistled dead.
Yeah, it seems like Borges really likes that inside running game as well, just like Harvey from Centennial.
And it's wild because those are two very different looking football players. You got Harvey, who's kind of built like Marshawn Lynch, just big and burly. And you've got Borges, who's a little more slender and slim, finding his way through the middle. Borges with a pickup of 4 on first down, 2nd and 6. Borges again, this time outside of the tackles, makes some contact and gets past the chains.
Yeah, Borges only being 5'9" and only 165. Running that inside game is pretty well for him.
Head coach Daryl Crouch was quoted in the Peoria Journal-Star after last week's monster performance from Borges. He said, you know, this time of year I never know what Borges weighs anymore. He's working out so much, and he's already light to begin with, but he does not play light, of course. Panthers trying to go ahead, another score. They scored first in this one back in the first quarter. Borges with a touchdown run. Borges on the pitch. Bescheid throws a block. Spun down after a nice gain on first down.
Yeah, it looks like they're relying on Borges a lot this drive down the field.
That's a change in philosophy from what we saw to start the half when Washington came out and chucked the ball a few times on their first drive. Now they're going back to the run game. Borges getting his shoulder pad fixed by Bescheid. And it's been interesting to watch Washington's offense develop throughout the year. They started by passing the ball a lot, at least 10 attempts in each of the first 6 games for Noah Burlett. But now they've relied on the run more. Play clock at 1, they get it off. Borges gets out of a tackle, but not a second one.
And Borges again with that run there, Larry. Do you think Burlett will have anything to do with the passing at all this drive down the field?
Well, we'll see. They're down in medium. Not exactly an obvious passing situation. Burlett getting the play call from the sideline. This crowd is gonna come to life once more.
You know, Larry, being in person at this game on the Champaign Centennial side, it sounds like a whole bunch of thunder.
Stomping on the bleachers, play clock at 5. Panthers gotta hurry again. Here's Borges, gets to the outside, gets upfield, still on his feet. Fighting for yardage past the sticks and then some.
Borges has played a very important part in this Washington's drive down the field.
Another workhorse performance from Thomas Borges. Had 45 carries last week in a win over Normal West, and now he's fighting hard to get the Panthers to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting hot here in this third quarter, so I would rely on him if I was Washington.
That was a factor in last week's game plan. Borges just got hot. Here's Bescheid, the fullback, lowers the shoulder and picks up a few on first down.
Yeah, Bescheid hasn't really played too big of a factor in this game today, but he has played a really good factor. Last week he had a TD.
In case you can't see the clock, under 3 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Burlett rolling out to pass, throws over the middle to Mapson, inside the 10, down to the 5.
Yeah, Mapson's being such a big target, Larry, like you were mentioning earlier, how he's 6'6", 195. The biggest guy on the field, it looks like right now. He's like a giant compared to everyone else.
He's hard to miss. He just settled there in the soft spot of the zone, and Burlett found him.
And not only is Mapson an amazing football player, he's also an amazing basketball player as well, plays a big part in Washington's basketball team as well.
Panthers reigning Mid-Illini Conference champions from the abbreviated spring basketball season. There's a give to Bescheid, keeping the legs churning, brought down short of the goal line, but a flag is down. Looks like this one may go against Washington, and it will. Chop block against the Panthers.
Champaign Centennial's defense is doing a great job of stopping Washington on this drive. However, with that being in their own end zone, hopefully they'll be able to come up huge here.
Penalty will help. Moves Washington back to the 6-yard line, or even further. A 15-yard penalty. Not great on a goal-to-goal situation if you're the Panthers.
Yeah, not great at all, Larry, but like I was talking about, Centennial doing a great job of stopping Washington. I think that penalty helps them out just a little bit more here on this drive.
Panthers will likely have to go to the pass once more. Head coach Terrell Crouch has opened up the playbook. Fake give to Bescheid, and Jack Lemus gets his first carry of the day, and he's upended. Third down, goal to go from the 21.
Yeah, Jack Lemus and Boers have the same kind of like weight and height, both 5'9" and both 165 as well.
Similar builds for sure. This will be replay second down rather than replay. That last down was first down, so we had that incorrect, as did the chain gang, I believe. Man in motion is Pollitt. Flags fly. False start against the Panthers. That'll move them back even further.
Champaign Centennial's defense is getting really lucky with these penalty calls here on this drive, Larry, which is helping them out a lot on this drive, although they're doing a great job of defending the Panthers as well.
Any coach will tell you the team that makes the fewest mistakes, especially once you turn the calendar to November, will win. Under a minute to go, quarter number 3. Second and goal. Pollitt in motion, no flag this time. Burlett steps up, looking for the end zone for Mapson. He hauled it in. Panthers back in front.
I was just about to say, Larry, do you think those penalties maybe have shooken up Washington's offense a little bit? But looks like after that touchdown reception by Mapson, I don't think they did.
Mapson looking like a rebounder, going over the defender's body to haul it in.
His basketball skills probably kicked in for that play there, Larry. He jumped up pretty high on that one.
Sporer on for the extra point. He's 2 for 2.
Yeah, Larry, I just heard the Washington coaches saying that Centennial does have a pretty tough defense.
No kidding. They've held tough today. They've had to open up the playbook as a result, but Washington showing off the versatility on offense. Isaac Mapson putting the Panthers back out in front. We'll take this break to remind you that today's presentation of playoff football on CSM is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, call 309-444-4441. It's Jake Weston, your good neighbor in Washington. Also by Kep's Sports Bar and Grill in Washington. Visit them at 313 Muller Road. Give them a call at 309-444-1974 for great family atmosphere, lots of sports on the TV, and great wings. That's my recommendation off their menu. Kep's in Washington. Panthers now in front. Sporer getting ready to boot it away.
Looks like there's a lot of boos going on for the Washington Panthers kicking team.
That drive sails out of the back of the end zone. Sporer getting the job done on special teams.
Now, Larry, being Champaign Centennial's offense, do you want to run with more of the passing game here or the rushing game?
Well, they've established the run so far today. However, their passing game has been their #1 way to do damage against Washington. We've seen some long pass receptions from the likes of Jack Young Jr. as well as Jalen Coleman. I'd imagine we'll see a few of those, especially as the clock hits the 4th quarter.
Brandon Harvey playing an amazing part of Champaign Centennial's offense.
Harvey gets it on the ground. He's met at the line. Billy Morrison stops him along with Jace Harlan. Clock will keep on running down. But that's the beauty of having a balanced offense, knowing you can get it done on the ground and you can also do it through the air. And if you're in Centennial's position, trailing by a touchdown, or even if the game is tied and you get the ball back with 2 minutes, a minute to go, you know you can get the job done because you can air it out.
Exactly, and Champaign Centennial has so many stars on their offense, like Jack Young Jr., Brandon Harvey, Brady Boatwright, their quarterback.
It's time to put the 4s up at Champaign Centennial. We're headed to the 4th quarter with Washington on top, 14-7, thanks to a touchdown pass from Noah Burlett to Isaac Mapson. Under a minute to go in the third. We'll take this pause in the action to thank our great sponsors today. First, Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit him online at jakewestoninsurance.com for all your insurance needs. Call up your good neighbor, Jake Weston State Farm. Also by Keps in Washington at 313 Muller Road. Give them a call for a reservation, 309-444-1974. Great atmosphere, superb food, family-oriented. I think that ad right there sums it up pretty good. Keps is the place to be if you're in Washington.
Yeah, speaking of the number 4, on this fourth quarter, Larry, I think this is all going to depend on the defensive game more than offense. Washington has to come up big and make some defensive stops here against Centennial.
Their defense has had a big day so far. They forced turnovers. Forced 1 turnover, resulting in Washington's first score eventually back in the first quarter. I want to take a brief moment to also thank our entire crew today. Nick Larson on the controls, Jake Dykstra up top on the camera. Of course, my partner Tyler Skabinski. It's Larry Larson in with you. Second down and 11 for Boatwright. Chucks it out wide, finds Peacock. He's got some space on the sideline. Tackled from behind by Richardson after he gets past the first down marker.
Yeah, if Centennial's offense keeps making drives down like that down the field, Larry, we might have a backup. We still have a ball game on our hands, but it might be tied up.
We got a final score from up north, a Middle Illini final. Hononegah 31, Pekin 28. As the Dragons season comes to an end up in Rockton. Shout out to the Dragons, great season. Lost a tough battle today. Zach Larson on the social media coverage up there. We'll have some pictures on our Instagram page from that game in a while. There goes Harvey. Harvey makes a man miss. Ball is loose. Washington has it. E.J. Phillips punches it out. Wow, what a play.
It looked like Harvey might have gotten open on that play, but that juke at the end kind of cost it for him.
Harvey was on his way down. Phillips brought him down, punched the ball out, and fell on it. What a play from the junior linebacker.
Like I was saying, Larry, right at the start of the fourth quarter, I said those defensive stops are going to play a key factor in this fourth quarter here, and look what happens.
Now Washington has a chance to gain a firm grasp on this contest and really punch their ticket to the IHSA quarterfinal round of the 6A playoffs. Borges up the gut for a gain of a few.
I feel like, Larry, if Champaign Centennial can get a stop right here, I think they might have another chance to go down and possibly score.
They'll have more than enough time.
Definitely. Just the start of the fourth quarter.
Plenty of time left on the clock. Again, it's going to be a lot harder for them if Washington scores here. Bertolette with the play call before 2nd and 6. There's Bescheid. Bescheid keeping the legs moving enough to move the sticks. Bescheid has gained an increased role in the running game over the last few weeks of the season as Washington has moved to more of a heavy set offense, running more option type plays. Bescheid is definitely a running option, just so hard to bring down. An imposing figure on both sides of the ball at 6'2", 225. Borges to the outside, still on his feet, moving forward. Chargers trying to knock that ball loose. They have once today from Borges' hands. No dice there.
Yeah, Larry, if they can stop the running game and have to force up passing game, I feel like they're going to do really well on defense.
You hear the wind on our crowd microphone a little bit. Not exactly conducive to the passing game. Borges hit in the backfield, tripped up. Jack Barnhart was there, along with David Navarra. Teamwork makes the dream work on that tackle. 3rd and long coming up. Centennial trying to come up with a defensive stand after Washington forced a turnover. Panthers with an opportunity to go ahead by 2 scores for the first time today.
It looks like over there in the Washington stands, Larry, that Washington brought out a little bit of a student section today.
It's to be expected from the Orange Crush. Burlett, plenty of time. Throws it over Richardson's head. It's 4th down.
It's been some great defensive stops by Champaign Centennial's defense.
So here comes Paul Sporer and the Panthers special teams unit. Sporer's last punt pinned Washington, or pinned Centennial rather, inside their own 1-yard line. Sporer's known to do that. Good blocking. It's a high kick. Plenty of hang time. Washington's defense gets underneath it, takes a bounce, and will be down at the 10-yard line.
With Champaign Centennial's defense about to walk on the field, Larry, I feel like Brady Boatwright is about to play a big factor in this drive down the field. Didn't see really too much from him the first half. Not first half, started the 4th quarter on their first drive down the field, but I feel like he's going to play a big part in this one right here.
Got a flag on the play. And I believe it's an illegal shift or something of that nature against Washington. So that'll move Centennial's starting position up a bit. Personal foul against the Panthers. I didn't see anything there. Tyler, I don't know if you saw anything, but
I did not.
$15-yarder. It's a big penalty. More favorable field position now for the Chargers. Down by a score. Trying to tie this game up. Should Centennial move on, they would punch their ticket to their first quarterfinals since 2006. They're playing their first home playoff game since 2014. That was before turf was installed here at Centennial. Impressive run to the outside by Braylon Peacock. We haven't seen him much out of the backfield. He's been a factor in the passing game. That makes it 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5, Larry, I think that Boatwright might have an opportunity to throw a decent pass here.
Well, so far today it has been run to set up the pass for head coach Kyle Jackson and Centennial. Boatwright has the play call. Jack Young Jr. always a threat. He's lined up as a tight end here. Near the bottom of your screen. There goes Peacock. Weaving in and out of traffic. Ripped down past the chains. Enough for the first.
That was a really nice move there by Peacock, Larry, weaving in between the defenders like that. That's not that hard to do, especially running at that speed, but he played it off really well.
Jameer Hall, big left guard for Centennial, come off the field. Looks like he's hurt. That's something to keep an eye on. Of course, that offensive line, such a big part of everything that Centennial does. Guys up front, 6 foot, 205, 6'6", 285, 6 foot, 250. Big fellas up front for the Chargers. Harvey's first carry of the drive to the outside. Tripped up short of midfield. But another big pickup. Centennial finding a lot of success with the run game.
Harvey's run game has not only played a factor in this half, but has played a factor in this whole game.
Under 7 minutes to play in quarter number 4, the second round of the 6A playoffs. The winner will advance to the quarterfinals, where they await the winner of tonight's St. Ignatius Crete Monet matchup. Boatwright out of the pocket. He's got a man downfield, but he's sacked. Billy Morrison got him.
That would have been such a nice opportunity for Boatwright too, Larry, but Washington's defense is doing great this drive just based off of that sack right there and their defensive stops before that sack as well.
He had Law on the opposite end of the field open. Would have been tough for him to make that throw. He would have had to go pretty much to the other sideline, but he was open. And now it's 3rd down and 14. Probably a passing situation for Centennial. Washington's defensive line doing a great job today.
This is going to be such a big play for Centennial if they get this right here.
Boatwright climbs the pocket, steps up, over the middle, incomplete, in the vicinity of Jack Young Jr. So now it's 3rd down and 14, under 6 minutes to go. And with Washington's running game, you got to figure that they can be quite adept at chewing the clock. So if you're the Chargers, do you punt it or do you maybe go for it here and take a gamble?
You know, with 5 minutes and 46 seconds left in the 4th quarter, I would pass for it if I was being honest with you. I mean, sure, punting it will get it to the other side of the field, but I would want to take that risk in being able to pass or make a play. But it looks like they're about to punt the ball there, Larry.
Centennial will trust its defense. The punt barely gets off, but it's a good one. Tyler Richardson backpedals and makes the return. Swims through a defender, still on his feet, taking hits left and right. Brought down inside the 20. A great punt. Good moves from Richardson. Not enough to make something happen there, but head coach Kyle Jackson says it's up to the defense to make something happen. And frankly, I don't blame him because the Chargers defense all season long has been very good. They've been tested a lot. Each of the Chargers' 4 losses this season, they enter this matchup 6-4, are against playoff teams, but their defense has risen to the occasion in some of those games, including one that jumps off the schedule to us Peoria folks. September 24th against Peoria, they limited the Lions to 20 points, which is really hard to do. They've limited the Panthers to 14 today. There goes Borges. Spins short of the sticks. Nice first down pickup. In case you're just joining us, the difference right now, an Isaac Mapson touchdown pass at the end of the 3rd quarter. Noah Burlett delivering a dime to the back of the end zone. Mapson hauling it in for his 6th touchdown of the season. That perhaps could be his biggest, although he had the game-winning touchdown catch in the closing seconds of Washington's victory against Pekin back in week 6.
I wouldn't count Centennial out just yet. If they get a stop here, I feel like Brady Boatwright will,
No stopping Thomas Borges. One man to beat. Law. Did he get him? No. Thomas Borges all the way home. Washington up by 2 scores.
I think I might have spoke too soon there, Larry, with Centennial being able to get a stop.
The Panthers faithful are going nuts. Washington with a huge run, the first big run of the game from Borges, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Panthers well in control of this one. And as seconds tick off the clock, looking more and more like they're headed to the quarterfinals. Paul Sporer sends it through. He's 3 for 3. And the Panthers are ahead by 14. We'll take this pause to remind you of our great sponsors today. It's Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Thanks to Jake for supporting Clutch Sports Media all season long. Give him a ring, 309-444-4441 for all your insurance needs, or visit him online at JakeWestonInsurance.com. It's Jake Weston from State Farm, your good neighbor in Washington. Also by Keps, the place to be in Washington on game day. Great atmosphere. Visit them down at 313 Muller Road in Washington. Give them a call, 309-444-1974 to make your reservation.
You know, Larry, Champaign Central might make a miracle happen here if they can score on the offensive drive and possibly get a defensive stop.
Centennial needs to make something happen right away. They've got all 3 of their timeouts. This one not over yet, 4:44 to go. Looks like Sporer's getting set up for an onside kick. It's a pop-up kick down the sideline. Caught by Harvey. plows his way past the 30-yard line. 60-some odd yards to go for Centennial. They got to make something happen quick, but if there's anybody that can do it, it's Brady Boatwright and his wide receiving core.
Yeah, Larry, I saw Boatwright sitting on the bench earlier, but walking out to the field this drive, it looks like he has some sort of different metabolism going on. He looks ready for action.
Well, it's do or die time for the senior. Started his first game on varsity week 6 his sophomore year back in 2019. Centennial went 0-9 that season. Now he's led his team to the postseason. Completes a pass to Jalen Coleman, gets near the sticks, but the clock keeps on running. He was looking for the sideline but could not get there. Second and 1. Centennial's not going to huddle up very much.
They're going to try to get as many plays out as possible, Larry.
Boatwright again looking for the sideline, throws over the middle to Young, a circus catch past midfield. Great job, great focus by Young to catch it after a bobble.
That was such a great completion there. It looked like he was surrounded by full coverage there on that play.
Young Jr. has been the focus of the Panthers defense. We saw him make a great catch in the first half through double coverage. Does so again there. Boatwright taking a shot down the field, complete. Jalen Coleman for 6.
Here we go, Larry. This is what I was talking about. Now all Champaign Central needs to do is get that stop. Champaign Centennial, I was too hyped up from the touchdown there.
We'll see if the Chargers elect to go for 2. They're going to send out the special teams unit. Don't turn it off yet, folks. This one's far from over. 3:51 on the clock. Brady Boatwright with a dot. First score of the fourth quarter for Centennial, and the extra point is blocked. A big-time extra point block by Washington special teams unit keeps the score at 21-13.
That was such a huge play by Washington's. I haven't really seen too many blocked field goals before in high school, but that was something pretty cool.
Carson missed the kick low, but he's got to shake that fast because he's going to have an important onside kick to make. And that's assuming that Centennial doesn't boot it deep and elect to trust their defense again, which could be another play there. Carson getting ready to get it teed up. Washington bringing their returners to that line of scrimmage. Frankly, Tyler, I could see this one going either way. I wouldn't be shocked if Carson sent it deep. Washington's got the hands team out.
I can see the same thing, Larry.
A crucial kick. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining. And it is driven deep into the hands of Lemus. Making something happen. Lemus still on his feet, charging ahead past the 35. A big return for the senior.
Champaign Centennial gets a stop here. I feel like they may have a little bit more time left to possibly go down and score.
Plenty of time left, but they need their defense to step up, and you may hear some fans hollering, "Stop the clock." Clock was rolling after that kickoff, so the officials are going to need to reset that. They signal up to the booth to reset the clock. Well, one thing's for sure, I suppose the Chargers won't be accused of keeping more time on the clock than there actually is. Of course, those seconds winding down, not in favor of the Chargers. Washington looking for their second trip to the quarterfinal round in their last 3 playoff trips. They last made it in 2018 and lost to Crete Monet by 1 score. And ironically enough, the winner of this game awaits the winner of tonight's matchup between St. Ignatius and Crete Monet. There goes Borges. Borges again, keeping the legs churning. Momentum stopped short of the 45. Borges' last carry, that big touchdown run to put Washington up by 2 scores.
This has been such an interesting game, Larry, because both offense and defense have played very important factors in this whole game throughout.
Washington will let that clock tick, tick, tick down. Play clock at 20, game clock at 3 minutes to go. Do or die time for the Centennial defense. Washington in the driver's seat. They just got to keep on moving the chains. There's Borges, hit at the line of scrimmage. A huge hit delivered by guess who? Brandon Harvey, playing both sides.
I think that was a stop that Champaign Centennial need to get that defense hyped up a little bit more, don't you think, Larry?
Absolutely, and they burn a timeout, as they've got a big 3rd down coming up, 3rd down and 4. We've seen the Chargers get stops at this yardage before. During this timeout, we want to remind you of our sponsors one more time, coming down to crunch time on CSM, and we could not bring you this action without first Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. He's got you covered for all your insurance needs, home, auto, health, life, you name it. Give him a ring, 309-444-4441, or online at JakeWestonInsurance.com. Got crossed up a little bit. There's Keps as well, Keps Sports Bar and Grill in Washington, for a great atmosphere, great food, and a great family-oriented atmosphere. Visit Keps at 313 Muller Road in Washington. Thanks to all our great sponsors all season long, but especially those two helping us bring you the action here in Champaign. Biggest defensive play of the game for the Chargers. Pitch outside, Borges. Borges with space for the 1st down.
Time is running down just a little bit later for that Champaign Centennial defense.
It's far from over. 2:40 to go. Centennial trailing by 8. We've seen them recover 2 fumbles today. No interceptions from Noah Burlett. Borges fumbled back in the 1st half. And Burlett also lost a snap over his head in the 1st half. Play clock at 5. Who else but Thomas Borges swallowed up. Jeremiah Young brings him down. And a timeout is burned by Centennial before 2nd down.
Now, if you're Washington's offense, Larry, do you go for more of those run plays just to wind down the clock a little bit, or do you try to make a big play to score?
Without a doubt, considering that Washington's blockers and Thomas Borges have done enough to make big plays by themselves time and time again this season throughout 10 weeks. Washington, the number 6 seed in Class 6A. Champaign Centennial, the number 14 seed in 6A, coming off an upset over 3rd-seeded Chicago Kenwood last week. Washington trying to hit that 9-win mark and advance to the quarterfinals for the 2nd time in their last 3 trips to the postseason. Panthers have qualified for 14 consecutive playoffs under head coach Darryl Crouch. I asked him about that yesterday. I said, does this feel normal at this point? He said, I just love it. I love being out here, and I love the fact that you have to qualify for the playoffs. Football, one of the few sports in the IHSA left where you have to qualify. Here's a pitch to Borges. Borges with space. Borges off to the races. Borges to the house. Washington on their way to the quarterfinals.
Such a great run by Borges. He's played a super important factor in today's game. That's his 2nd touchdown of the day, correct, Larry?
Indeed, his 3rd touchdown. Thomas Borges again sends the Champaign Centennial fans to the exits. Paul Sporer on for the point after. And it's blocked. First miss of the day from Sporer keeps the score at 27-13. Washington, they're ahead by 2 scores, 2 minutes, 2 seconds left on the clock. And Tyler, it's going to take, I almost said small miracle, probably a little bit more than a small miracle for Centennial to knot this one up. However, if they can score on their first play of this possession, recover an onside kick, there's plenty of time left.
Exactly. Well, for that touchdown for Borges for Washington, that O-line played a really important factor. Even though it may be small in size, they're such a powerhouse.
A lot of fans headed for the exits, but a lot of fans sticking around. You can hear them on our crowd mic. They came out in droves for Centennial's first home playoff game since 2014. Really played a factor at points in this second half. Sporer, pop-up kick, fielded at the 30. Whistles blow. And the officials signal a fair catch, which I think is a mistake. Looked like they pointed to Jalen Coleman. Jalen Coleman signaled fair catch. The returner who caught the kick did not, but regardless, play stops there. And now it's one last shot for the Chargers. Do or die time. They need to score in the first few plays of this drive. Get an onside kick back and score again. They've got 2 minutes and 2 seconds to do it. Brady Boatwright throws to the sideline through the hands of Jalen Coleman.
I think Champaign Centennial really needed that completion there, Larry.
Only 4 seconds coming off the clock there. That's the beauty of a quick incomplete pass. Clock stops. Boatwright with the play call. Jack Young Jr., the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Jalen Coleman near the top. Boatwright climbs the pocket, surveys his options, throws over the middle, tipped up, and onto the turf. Coleman again could not haul it in, a valiant effort, but now it's 3rd and 10.
That would have been such an amazing catch, too. For how covered he was, that would have been a great catch.
Of course, anytime you're working against the clock and trailing in a game like this, you want to throw towards the sidelines, but Boatwright had no choice there. Washington secondary doing a good job covering up the targets. Boatwright, rush coming, makes one man miss, throws as he falls, incomplete. Almost picked off by Carbaugh.
Beat me to it, Larry, beat me to it.
Right through his hands, but no less. What an impressive throw from Boatwright there. A risky one, no less, but he was halfway to the ground when he chucked that one. But now it's 4th and 10. Last chance for Centennial. Got to get at least the first down here, if not more.
Boatwright's amazing arm has to come into play here, Larry. I mean, he has such amazing arm, and we've seen that today during this game.
He's got 2 touchdown passes today. The senior, 3-year starter, steps up, looking for the sideline, incomplete, no flags. And the Washington Panthers force a turnover on downs. They'll get it back, and they'll have the chance to kneel this one out eventually. Tyler, you figured with an offense that Champaign Centennial has, if there was a team that had a chance with about 2 minutes left, down 2 scores, it was them. That's credit to Washington's defense, as well as specifically their pass rush, making things hard on Brady Boatwright. 1:39 to go in the contest. Noah Burlett comes out in the victory formation. Takes a knee. Clock winding down, and the Panthers can taste it. They are on their way to the quarterfinals once again. They improve their record, or will improve their record, against playoff teams this year to 6-2. A very difficult schedule for the Panthers pays off when it matters most. Defeating Normal West 14-7 at home last week, and defeating, it looks like, barring an epic collapse, Champaign Centennial here today. Burlett takes a knee. I'll have to do that 1 or 2 more times, and then that will be all. What a performance from Noah Burlett today. Timely passes, and namely a touchdown pass to Isaac Mapson at the end of the third quarter that really set the tone for the fourth quarter, where Centennial was playing from behind.
Exactly. Borges scoring those 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter played a big factor in this game as well.
Burlett takes a knee, and that's it. For the second time in their last 3 playoff trips, the Washington Panthers are headed to the IHSA quarterfinal round. It's a sweet day in Washington.
Give all the credit to Champaign Centennial, though. They put up such an amazing fight this whole game. Amazing offense and defense both.
Credit where credit is due. The Centennial Chargers put up an incredible fight today. Their defense especially really came to play and made things difficult on Borges and company in the first half, forcing a few turnovers. And really, in the grand scheme of things, what an incredible story the Chargers are overall after going 0-9 in 2019, making it to the second round of the playoffs here in 2021.
It'll be really interesting to see what they have to offer next season as well.
They graduate a lot of key pieces: Brady Boatwright, Braylon Peacock, Jack Young Jr., David Navarra, Jalen Coleman among them, along with a few offensive linemen graduating. But many pieces of that O-line coming back, but a lot of skill guys are departing due to graduation after this contest. Good sportsmanship from both sides. Great sportsmanship all game long. 2 very well-coached teams, well-disciplined. No extracurricular activity or anything of that nature after any of the whistles. You always like to see that. A good, hard-fought football game goes in favor of the Washington Panthers. They improve to 9-2 and charge on to the IHSA quarterfinals, where they will await the winner of St. Ignatius and Crete Monet. That game gets underway at 7 p.m. tonight. Second-seeded St. Ignatius, 7th-seeded Crete Monet, and Monet is the host in that game, if I am not mistaken. So more likely than not, Washington, I believe, will host the next playoff game should Monet win, but should St. Ignatius win, they may host. Frankly, I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to dig into it a little bit, but that's something to cross later tonight once we find out the winner of that contest. There you see the Panthers huddled up. Under composure. They're fired up, but Tyler, you can tell they've been here before.
Oh, definitely have, and regardless who Washington has to play next week, they're going to come out hungry and ready for battle, so it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
Credit to head coach Darryl Crouch. He's done a nice job all 17 seasons in his tenure at Washington. And there you see the final score: Washington 27, Centennial 13. Tyler, your final thoughts?
Such a great game played today. Both sides fought very, very hard. Such an amazing matchup, both offense and defensively.
Credit to Champaign Centennial. They came out with a hard-fought battle. They're on the other side of the field going through some handshakes and letting it all sink in. But the Panthers are moving on in the IHSA 6A bracket to the quarterfinal round, where again they will await winner of St. Ignatius and Crete Monet. That game coming up tonight at 7 p.m. That'll about do it from Champaign today. Thanks to our entire crew doing a great job, phenomenal job, stepping up for the team. Nick Larson at the controls today all day long. Jacob Dykstra up top of the press box doing a great job on camera. Gotta say, it's both their first times doing those respective jobs, and they killed it. Tyler Skabinski, first time on color. Thanks to Tyler for stepping up as well. And thank you for listening. One more time, I want to thank our sponsors, Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Give him a call, 309-444-4441 for all your insurance needs at Jake Weston State Farm. And also presented by Keps in Washington at 313 Muller Road. Give them a call, 309-444-1974 for the place to be in Washington on game day, Keps Sports Bar and Grill. So again, for our entire CSM team, Joey Wright also back in our Peoria studio, Nick Larson at the controls, Jacob Dykstra up top, Tyler Skabinski, my partner. This is Larry Larson saying so long, and thank you for watching this presentation of the IHSA 6A playoffs. Again, the final, the Panthers 27, the Champaign Centennial Chargers 13. The Panthers moving on. So long, everybody.